Hey everyone, welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about issue number 2 of Astonishing Iceman, written by Steve Orlando. But before we get started with the story, please consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel if you find anything interesting within the comics covered here, for with your help, this channel can grow and improve. So with that said, this issue opens with a flashback several years ago with Bobby scaring off an individual who was attacking a female friend of his. Or at least she was a friend of his, because after Bobby displayed his power to help her, she proceeded to cower in fear of him and told him to stay away. So with everything going wrong, some of the bystanders started to attack Bobby for his mutant ability. In fact, the bystanders were so dead set on chasing him out of town that they showed up at his family home to get a hold of him. But luckily for Bobby, his family was on his side and willing to fight for him. So with the father declaring that they will have to go through him to get to his son, the individuals at his door did just that, as they crashed into his home in search of the young Iceman. So as the young mutant hid, the cruel individuals searched the home. So following that traumatic experience, we jump over to the current day with Bobby's family once again being attacked by those who seek to harm their son. Now Helium, the unfreezable man, states that time is up, and this town had cheated justice for far too long, so because of that Orcus has sent the Sapien League soldiers to correct that problem. And then Helium continues to say how to humans they are guardians, the elements of life. To the mutants, they are the elements of death. And to Mrs. Drake, he is the chief element and her son's executioner. And as the executioner, he is also there to take out the people who had unleashed Iceman on all the quote-unquote decent humans, because according to him, they could have stopped Bobby, but didn't. So as the citizens of that town yell about how they didn't want Bobby there, Helium disregards everything they said, and tells the people that they will be used as a lure to draw him in. And either one of two things will happen. A. Bobby will die trying to save them, or B. Everyone in the town will die instead to pay the price for sheltering the mutant. So with the people in Bobby's hometown in danger, we skip over to Antarctica with Bobby and Romeo getting out of bed. And once up, an alarm in the war room goes off, and according to Romeo, whatever is going on just creates a big spike. Now the way the war room works is that it scans for people's emotions because the world is covered with emotional fronts like the weather. Now emotions like fear, hate, and panic cause spikes to appear on his display. And what makes the display and war room so effective is that it helps him focus his power so he can track spikes around the globe, and by the looks of it, the latest one is coming from Long Island. And like we saw earlier, Long Island is where Bobby grew up. So with that out there, Orcus would definitely know that Bobby grew up there. Now Bobby states that the people in that town ran him out of it after he protected his girlfriend, and as for his father, one of the only two people who cared for him in that town is now gone, while the other, his mother, for some reason is still living there and refusing to leave. So with the trap being obvious, Romeo tells him Orcus is just trying to lure him in which Bobby responds by saying he knows, but he has to do something, because when he first got his power, he had almost nobody. And he couldn't live with himself if he allowed another kid in that town to go through the same thing. So because of that, he will go, and if he does fall into any trap, then he would just put their trap on ice. And with that said, Bobby takes off to save his mother. Now on a side note, it is cool seeing Bobby take off like that, but seriously, how long would it take Iceman to fly from Antarctica to Rhode Island? But anyway, with Bobby gone, Romeo states how he will try his best to hold Iceman together for as long as he can, while he is gone. So following that, we pick up with the elemental militia completely laying waste to the neighborhood, flooding the town hall with poison, and igniting the schools. Because in their most recent upgrades, their compassion was cut and replaced with a fiery need to protect humans from mutants and their allies. So because of that, if Iceman doesn't show up, the entire town will be killed for aiding and abetting a mutant in his crib. So just as the militia is about to do the unthinkable, Bobby arrives on the scene, and in no time at all, he was able to freeze the two synthetics with little to no effort. So with two down, Bobby quickly made his way to the mayor's office. Now on a side note, the mayor is the same guy in the beginning of the story that Bobby, as a kid, used his power on. But anyway, when Bobby gets there, he quickly dispatches Mercury just like the previous two synthetics at the schoolhouse. Now when it comes to the mayor, he is in complete denial about what Orcus is capable of doing. But that is when Bobby reassures him that this is who Orcus really is, because the Sapien League are all dead, and all this is a cover story, and the mayor is eating it all up like a good puppy. Because the real Orcus take hostages, make threats, and issue ransoms, for this is Orcus, this is what they do. But see, the mayor is the kind of person who would double down on what he believes even if it is proven wrong, because in his eyes, Orcus are humanitarians who would never allow any of this. So with Bobby being completely fed up with the mayor's misplaced loyalty, he proceeds to explain how he is doing a great job in convincing him to save his town. So with that said, Bobby creates a squad of snowmen to completely overrun the synthetics and whipping them all out. So with the town folk all saved, the mayor still refuses to admit his stupidity and apologize. So with enough time wasted, Bobby quickly made his way to Helium to save his mother. And upon Bobby's arrival, Helium wasted no time and instantly went on the attack. So with Bobby being knocked off his feet, our hero quickly counterattacked with an ice shuriken directly to Helium's face. But see, that was nowhere near enough to handle the chief of the synthetics, for he was dead set on killing Bobby alongside all the humans that harbored him. So with the fight still raging on, Bobby had to think quickly, so in a display of power, Bobby slammed his fist into the earth in an attempt to freeze the unfreezable. But just like the name suggests, Helium just broke free and punched a hole directly through Bobby's chest, which sent him flying back. So with our hero being pushed to his limits, Romeo tries his best to keep Bobby together and tells him whatever he is planning on doing, he needs to do it quickly. So that is exactly what Bobby does, because Bobby once again creates a giant wall of ice around the main synthetic. Now the purpose of this attack wasn't meant to be the end-all be-all, but instead be a vessel to the highest shelf of them all. Because Bobby was sending Helium on a one-way ticket to space. So with the two now in low Earth orbit, Helium makes a mistake in confirming what Bobby already suspected by saying how the director dev of Orcus will just hire someone else once this battle is over to take Bobby out. So with everything all but over, Bobby seals the deal by ejecting Helium out into space. So with the battle over, Romeo continued to struggle to keep our hero together, because due to Romeo's power, he could tell that Bobby was spread too thin. Romeo could even feel Bobby coming apart, so with time running out, Romeo did what he could to seal the cracks as fast as he could, so Bobby could have one conversation with his mother. So with his mother greeting him, she goes on to tell him how people are calling him a dangerous terrorist, but she of all people knows that is not true. Despite the two of them having their ups and downs, she needs her son to know that she never stopped caring about him. And no matter how many lies Orcus say, she will always have his back. And then she goes on to say that she should have reached out after his father's death. And regardless of what people are saying, she sees the news and she knows her son is out there saving people. So as the two share a heartwarming hug, Bobby disappears in her arms. So with that heartwarming moment coming to an end, we pick back up in Antarctica with Romeo drained of energy. But see, that was just a temporary state, because within moments he was able to recreate his love. So following that, we skip over to the Bloom station, and in Orcus fashion, they decided to leave Helium to his fate and let him rot in orbit. Because his services are no longer required, so with that failure, the director decided to turn his attention to the cleaner as his next hired man. And at that moment we see the man himself dissecting an inhuman. Now the reason why he is doing it is because eventually Orcus will run out of mutants to play with, and one day the Inhumans will become their next target, so it is best for him to get a head start on knowing his next enemy. And while he is elbow deep in the Inhuman, he receives the call to take out Iceman. Because Orcus is fully aware that Drake's body could die and disappear, but what they don't know is where his mind goes. Because after his last battle, their thermal scans showed a supercooled air exiting Long Island before becoming so dispersed, it couldn't be tracked. But see, they were able to cross-reference this event with their previous data. And by doing that, they are positive that Bobby is not dead, because when he disappears, he doesn't disappear into nothingness. Because his mind goes somewhere, his mind goes to his home, a home that the cleaner needs to burn down. So with that said, this issue of Iceman comes to an end. But anyway, down in the comment section below, let me know your thoughts about this issue and what predictions you could have moving forward. So with that established, I hope you enjoyed this video, and please don't forget to leave a like and a comment if you want to see more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.